Federal Port. Federal ports in Malaysia are ports under the jurisdiction of the federal government and are administered by port authorities established through Acts of Parliament. This structure ensures uniform port administration standards while supporting national trade, logistics development, and maritime efficiency. The governance of federal ports is based on three key components: legal acts which provide the statutory authority and regulatory framework, port authorities who are responsible for supervision, regulation, and development, port operators who manage daily commercial and operational activities. Also, there have several important acts regulate these ports, which is Penang Port Commission Act 1955 who governs Penang Port and Teluk Ava Port, ensuring structured administration and development in northern Malaysia. Port Authorities Act 1963 that governs major ports including Port Klang, Kuantan Port, Kemudian Port, Johor Port, Tanjung Pelepah Port, and Tanjung Bruas Port, ensuring uniform governance, safety, and operational efficiency. While in East Malaysia, Bintulu Port is regulated under the Bintulu Port Authority Ordinance 1961, while Labuan Port operates under the Port Authorities Act 1963, providing clear legal control over port limits and operations. Together, these legal frameworks form an integrated federal port governance system that strengthens Malaysia's maritime connectivity and competitiveness. Port Authorities Act 1963. The Port Authorities Act 1963 is one of the main laws governing federal ports in Malaysia. It gives port authorities their legal identity as corporate bodies with perpetual succession, which means they can own property, enter contracts, and sue or be sued in their own name. This is important because it allows port authorities to function independently while still remaining under government oversight. The Act also sets out the core responsibilities and powers of port authorities. They are responsible for operating, maintaining, and developing ports, as well as managing cargo handling, storage, vessel movements, and port infrastructure such as docks, wharves, and warehouses. In carrying out these duties, port authorities may also license private operators to provide port-related services. At the same time, the Act emphasizes that services must be delivered efficiently and at reasonable charges, so that ports can continue to support trade and national economic growth. In addition, the Act gives port authorities important financial and operational control. They may impose and collect port dues, storage fees, and pilotage charges, and they also have the authority to detain goods for unpaid fees, which helps ensure the financial sustainability of port operations. The Act further strengthens control over port activities through provisions on port premises, cargo handling, vessel movement, infrastructure management, and pilotage services, including the use of licensed pilots to ensure safe navigation within port limits. Besides the Port Authorities Act 1963, several supporting laws also help shape Malaysia's port system. The Ports Privatization Act 1990 introduced the landlord-operator model, under which the government or port authority retains ownership of port land and infrastructure, while private operators are licensed to manage daily port operations. This model is used in major ports such as Port Klang, Penang Port, Johor Port, Port of Tanjung Pelepah, Kuantan Port, Kemudian Port, and Bintulu Port. Even with privatization, the law still allows the government to enforce performance standards, safety requirements, and regulation of charges. The Statutory Bodies Act 1980 is equally important because port authorities are treated as federal statutory bodies under this law. It requires them to maintain proper accounts, submit audited financial statements, and report their activities to the Minister and Parliament. This ensures financial accountability, transparency, and public oversight in the management of Malaysia's ports. Other supporting regulations also continue to apply in specific contexts. The Federation Port Rules 1953 provide general rules on vessel arrival and departure, navigation, mooring, cargo operations, port safety, and dangerous goods, while the Kedah Port Rules 1984 apply more specifically to ports and jetties in Kedah, including matters such as berthing, cargo handling, port dues, storage fees, and the authority of the port officer. Together, these rules help ensure that port operations are carried out in an orderly, safe, and efficient manner. Penang Port. A special example is Penang Port, which is governed by its own law, the Penang Port Commission Act 1955. This act established the Penang Port Commission, PPC, and gives it authority to oversee the management, development, control of vessel movement, pilotage services, tariffs, and revenue collection within Penang Port. Unlike many other federal ports governed mainly by the Port Authorities Act 1963, Penang Port operates under this earlier and more specific legal framework because of its historical importance and strategic role in Malaysia's maritime sector. The Penang Port legal framework is also supported by other maritime laws. The Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952 provides the broader national framework for matters such as ship registration, crew certification, maritime safety, and pollution control, while the Penang Port Rules 1953 deal with the day-to-day operational procedures of the port. In addition, the Penang Port Navigation within area of the Bridge 1986 specifically regulates vessel movement near the Penang Bridge to protect both navigation safety and the bridge structure. Overall, these laws work together to create a comprehensive and coordinated legal framework for Malaysia's ports. They ensure that ports are managed with clear legal authority, efficient administration, financial accountability, operational safety, and effective regulation, while allowing both public authorities and private operators to play their respective roles in strengthening Malaysia's maritime connectivity and competitiveness. Teluk Ava Port. Teluk Ava Port, a critical industrial gateway tucked away on the northern coast of Langkawi. While you'll find it physically located in the state of Kedah, its DNA is actually tied to its neighbor. Since January 1999, the Penang Port Commission, or PPC, has legally extended its reach to manage this site. It's a unique setup where the PPC acts as the regulatory landlord, but with a local twist. Whenever they talk about Teluk Ava, the State Secretary of Kedah takes a seat on the board to ensure the state's interests are front and center. Now, if you look at who's actually moving the cargo, that's where Kedah Cement Jetty Sendirian Berhad comes in. Operating under a long-term 30-year concession, they are the licensed muscle of the port. They handle everything from the raw limestone and clay coming in to the finished cement and clinker being shipped out to the world. But this isn't just a private dock. It's a highly regulated operation bound by three major legal pillars. First, there's the Penang Port Commission Act of 1955, specifically Section 80A, which is the legal bridge that allows a Penang authority to govern a Kedah port. Then, you have the Port Privatization Act of 1990, which created the framework for the PPC to step back as a regulator while a private company like Kedah Cement Jetty Sendirian Berhad takes over the daily grind. Since we're in Langkawi, the Free Zones Act of 1990 kicks in, making the PPC the official administrator of the free commercial zone to keep customs and duty-free trade running smoothly. Moving forward, when you look at this nautical chart, those dashed square brackets represent more than just navigation markers. They are the legal borders of authority. Inside these designated boxes, the Penang Port Commission Act of 1955 is the supreme law of the land, or rather, the water. This act grants the Port Commission specific power to regulate and manage high-stakes zones, such as the areas marked for dangerous goods, Baranggan Merbahaya, and general purposes, Pelbagai Guna. Essentially, these squares are specialized industrial zones where every vessel movement and cargo operation is strictly governed to ensure safety and efficiency under a focused port mandate. Think of the area inside those brackets as a high-security terminal where the Port Commission takes the wheel. Within these limits, the authority oversees everything from the berthing of ships to the stringent protocols required for handling hazardous materials. Because these zones are often high traffic and high risk, the 1955 Act provides a specialized legal framework that allows the port to manage its own house without overlapping with broader maritime traffic. It is a concentrated hub of administrative control designed to keep the engine of commerce running smoothly and safely. The moment a vessel crosses that dotted line and heads into the open blue, the jurisdiction shifts seamlessly to Jabatan Laut Malaysia. Outside the brackets, the Port Commission hands over the baton to the Marine Department, which acts as the guardian of the wider seas. Jabatan Laut Malaysia role is more expansive, focusing on the big picture of maritime safety, such as enforcing international navigation standards, vessel registration, and environmental. Bintulu Port. Bintulu Port was formerly a federal port but officially transferred to Sarawak state control on January 13, 2026 following the repeal of the Bintulu Port Authority Act 1981. It is now managed under the Port Authority Ordinance 1961 by the Bintulu Port Authority, Sarawak, while continuing its strategic role as Malaysia's main LNG export hub. Port Klang remains Malaysia's primary gateway to global trade, regulated by the Port Klang Authority under the Port Authorities Act 1963. Daily operations are handled by Northport and Westports under the Ports Privatization Act 1990, while the Free Zones Act 1990 enhances its status as a major logistics and industrial hub. Tanjung Bruas Port, located along the Straits of Malacca, serves as a hub for marine services, bunkering, ship-to-ship transfers, and industrial cargo. It is regulated by the Malacca Port Authority under the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952 and Port Authorities Act 1963, with operations managed by Tanjung Bruas Port Sendirian Berhad. In Johor, Johor Port and the Port of Tanjung Pelepah, PTP, operate under the Johor Port Authority and the Port Authorities Act 1963. Johor Port specializes in bulk and multi-purpose cargo, while PTP is a world-class container transshipment hub. Both benefit from free commercial zone status under the Free Zones Act 1990. On the East Coast, Kemumen Port is regulated by the Kemumen Port Authority under the Port Authorities Act 1963, with operations handled by Consortium Pelabuhan Kemumen Sendirian Berhad under the Ports Privatization Act 1990 and the ISPS Code, ensuring safe and efficient offshore and trade activities. Similarly, Kuantan Port operates under the supervision of the Kuantan Port Authority, while commercial operations are managed by Kuantan Port Consortium Sendirian Berhad. Its framework is supported by the Port Authorities Act 1963, Ports Privatization Act 1990, and Free Zones Act 1990, strengthening its role in regional trade and transshipment. Lastly, Labuan Port serves as a key hub for the oil and gas sector in the Borneo region. It is regulated by the Labuan Port Authority under the Port Authorities Act 1963, with operations managed by Mega Port Management Sendirian Berhad, ensuring efficient and secure port administration. In conclusion, Malaysia's ports operate under strong legislation such as the Port Authorities Act 1963, Ports Privatization Act 1990, and Free Zones Act 1990, which ensure efficient governance, safety, competitiveness, and global trade connectivity.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.